I hope that you can all see the screen and hear me. I think everybody's now been able to join. So welcome to today's session about the MSc Laboratory Management Programme. My name is Dr. Carolyn Loveridge. I'm a lecturer in the College of Medical, Veterinary and Life Sciences, or MVLS as we'll refer to it. And I've got my colleagues here, Professor George Baillie and Dr. Zhang Li, who are the other co-directors of this new MSc Laboratory Management Programme. So we're going to start this session with a presentation to give you an overview of the MSc programme, and then we're obviously very happy to take questions at the end of this presentation, if that's okay. So I'll just get my pointer ready. So just to give you an overview of the programme to start off with, to tell you a little bit about the story behind the creation of this MSc. So laboratory management pertains to the oversight of the scientific processes, resources and personnel who conduct activities in a laboratory environment. And there is an unmet need for this programme. So from our inquiries, we realise that a lot of people who become laboratory managers have progressed into that role from a more junior position, and they have had little or no formal training in this area, and they essentially are acquiring the skills on the job when they become a lab manager. And so there's a real unmet need for this programme, and so really we are trying to provide training in this area. And I will say that the MSc is tailored specifically to the three main laboratory environments that we encounter. So that would be academic, industrial and clinical. And our vision is that the MSc will enhance the prospects for prospective students of progressing to a managerial level position, and or it could function as training for a newly appointed laboratory manager. So the overall aim of the programme is to provide students with the necessary skills and attributes to enable them to be effective laboratory managers. And to achieve this, the MSc, the core aims are to provide a grounding in current theory, research methods and practice in central business management disciplines, and to develop students' knowledge and understanding of the fundamentals of laboratory practice, regulations and management in the laboratory environment. And so the aims of the programme, the specific aims, are to provide students with the opportunity to study in depth the relevant theoretical, methodological and technical literature from central business disciplines. We want to give you the opportunity to study in depth the fundamental and current topics in laboratory management. We want you to have the opportunity to utilise and apply the knowledge and skills that you will acquire during the taught elements of the programme to a relevant problem in laboratory management through completion of an independent research project. And finally, that you will be able to use your knowledge, skills and attributes to enable you to be effective laboratory managers and to move between different laboratory environments. So we do appreciate that during the course of a career, students may want to change the environment that they work in. And so we want to give you a broad set of knowledge, skills there. So in terms of the features of the programme, so this is a part-time online distance learning MSc, and it runs over a 3-year timeframe. And as with all MScs, there is a total of 180 credits. So 120 credits, or 2/3 of the programme, is made up of taught courses, and the final 60 credits comprises your research project. So for the taught courses, we have a total of 60 credits that are run by the Adam Smith Business School, and the other 60 credits of taught courses are run by MVLS. So for the top courses, you'll undertake 60 credits in each of years 1 and 2. So 30 credits with the SBS and 30 credits with MVLS in each of years 1 and 2. And the final year, as I've said, is where you'll undertake the research project. We do have some exit points. So for students who do not want to undertake the full MSc, you can exit after 1 year with a postgraduate certificate or after 2 years with a postgraduate diploma. I've mentioned the specialisms. So as I've said, you don't have to take a specialism, but we envisage that students probably will like to specialise, and the 3 other specialisms are academic, industrial and clinical. And to achieve a specialism, you must complete tailored assessments in 2 20-credit MVLS taught core courses, and the research project must be in the area of the specialism. So in total, you'll complete 100 credits in the specialist area. Okay. So to give you an overview of the structure of the programme, so as I've said, I've broken this down into years 1, 2 and 3. In green are the MVLS courses, in blue are the business school courses. So you can see that in year 1, you'll start in the business school with data-driven leadership skills for practitioners. And this is really where you'll get some core leadership training in that module. Laboratory health and safety will cover aspects of management of laboratory health and safety relating to chemical, biological, radiation, and things like sort of layout and waste disposal and sustainability in that course. Back with the business school, there's a practical approach to change management. So this is really important for laboratory managers during the course of your career, or as a laboratory manager, you will likely have to manage change in the lab. And so really important skills and knowledge to gain there. And then project management for practitioners. So again, as a lab manager, you will have a responsibility for helping to ensure the smooth running of projects within the lab. And so that's really important knowledge and skills there to learn. Laboratory practice, governance and ethics. So that's a 20-credit course. Sorry, I should have said these first 4 are 10-credit courses. Laboratory practice, governance and ethics is a 20-credit course. And here we're going to cover aspects such as good laboratory practice, good manufacturing practice, good clinical laboratory practice, aspects of quality control. We'll cover ethics, particularly surrounding the use of human and animal tissues. Things like GDPR, research governance, research integrity, and publishing data and professionalism in the lab. Moving on into year 2, we've got providing training and supervision in the lab. So here you'll learn about the value of training, about the importance of keeping training records, and techniques and development of effective training strategies and supervision. Operations management is the next course in year 2 with the business school. So again, in a lab, you will be running certain operations, and so really important skills to learn there. And next we've got, with the business school, still leading successful teams. So as a manager, you will be leading a team, and then business financial management. So as a lab manager, you will be having some input into buying goods and supplies for the lab, and maybe keeping some form of control over the lab's budget. And so it's really important to have a grounding in business financial management for those purposes. The final top course, this is a 20-credit course here again, the fundamentals of laboratory management. So here we'll be covering things like procurement processes, collaborations, negotiation strategies, considerations surrounding routine maintenance and troubleshooting for equipment, some personnel management aspects, and laboratory information management systems, and the kind of procedures you would take to implement a new process or piece of equipment in the lab. So yeah, just to say again, these courses are marked with a star. So these would be the courses where there'll be tailored assessment that links to your specialism. And in a lot of the top courses, we'll be having sort of real scenarios that you'll have to, and case studies that you'll have to think about and work through that relate to kind of real scenarios that you would be having to deal with as a laboratory manager. And then, as I've said, in the final year, we have the project. And for the project, we envisage that students that undertake this programme may already be in employment. And so you would be doing potentially your project with your employer surrounding some aspect or problem in lab management within your workplace. Okay, so I hope that gives you a good overview of the courses that make up part of this programme and some of the content that will be covered. I'm now going to hand over to Professor Baillie, who's going to take over now.
Okay, thanks, Carolyn. So how are we going to keep you engaged in this excellent course? Well, we're going to use a different variety of teaching methods. First of all, we're going to have teaching methods which we drive, and also there'll be student-driven directed activities as well. So we try and mix up the information using not only lectures, but seminars and tutorials, and things like online activities and journal clubs, where we can direct your learning. And also, we hope there's a sort of cohort feel about the course, where the student-directed activities also come into play, where you can do things like journal clubs, you can direct your own learning, and there's various online activities and group work where you can actually get in contact with your peers, because we think that enhances your learning experience. So if you go to the next slide, thank you. And the different assessment methods that we're going to use both formative and summative assessment methods, again, to keep it interesting and to keep you engaged with the topics. So summative, where you will get feedback and marks, things like essays, oral presentations. We're going to give you some risk assessments and incident evaluations of things that have actually happened in the workplaces. And we're going to get you to evaluate those and look at some case studies. And then we've got formative assessment, where you'll do things like online quizzes, question and answer sessions, and you'll have like peer-to-peer discussion forums, which we hope will cement the major points that we're trying to drive home to you. So go to the next slide. Yeah, so as Carolyn's already said, we've got input not only from our college and MVLS, but also from the Adam Smith Business School. And we think that marriage of both business input and scientific input will come together to make a really interesting and informative course that will help you develop as a lab manager. And there's a list of all the sort of course leaders for all the different parts of the course. So why would you choose Glasgow? Well, Glasgow is quite a prestigious place, as you probably know. We're again in the top 80 in the world. So if you imagine that ranking is of 2,500 universities, and we're in the top 100. So it's a world-renowned university. We're a member of the Russell Group, which is the 21 best universities in the UK. And quite often we're top of the Scottish universities as well, winning the best university in Scotland in 2022. We've got a huge student body, over 29,000 students from over 140 different countries. So we are used to dealing with people from around the world, and we've got a very good reputation for that. So it's a good place to do an online course if you're not actually from the UK. Why MVLS? Well, okay, so I'm in MVLS. I've been in MVLS for 30 years. We are a huge, diverse college which deals with everything from molecular science up until data science and everything in between. Our mission is to transform lives by tackling major biomedical and life science challenges. And we do this with a range of internationally leading scientists and outstanding research that gets published in world-leading journals. recently we've both been voted in the top 5 for dentistry, food science, medicine, nursing, and sports science, and we're 5th in the UK for biological sciences. So we are we're well placed to deliver our programme. This programme is run by the graduate school, and the graduate school deals with all of our postgraduate courses, and we're talking about a body of administrators, scientists, and health professionals that come together to put together the best courses and the best modern current courses to inform your learning. And I think that's me, is it? I think I'm going to pass you over to Dr. Zhang Li to tell you about why the Adam Smith Business School is good for this course as well.
Thanks, George. So you will be joining this program with input, from MBOS and also Adam Smith Business School. Why business school? The purpose of the school is to sustain and foster a place of outstanding quality, research-informed and professional focus, bringing together inspiring people for the purposes of research, learning, teaching, engagement with corporate and policy connections. So what this means to you is that you will get to interact with our top-notch management study researchers and also academics who will bring that theories to life through relevant cases. So these academics have extensive connections with different organizations, and they bring the most recent thinking into the classroom so that they are prepared to actually help you to cultivate you to become the next generation of the leaders and also managers. Our business school is accredited by 3 professional accreditation bodies, and that put our business school in the top 1% of the business schools around the world. So we were accredited by AACSB, which is a European accreditation body, AMBER, which is Association of MBA, and also EQUIS, which is the European one. Apology, AACSB is American accredited bodies. So our rankings also very highly ranked around the world, as you can see from here. Last year, by the Financial Times, our business school's Masters in Finance were ranked the 49th in the world. And then our Master of Global Business was ranked 23rd by the QS International Trade Rankings. In 2023, our business and management were ranked 8th in the UK. So this is all highlighting how expertise we are in terms of management, business, and also finance. So we are very confident to actually bring you the most updated knowledge into your classroom.
Thanks very much, Zhang. So I think that brings us to the end of the presentation. So we're obviously really keen to take your questions, and we would obviously love to welcome you to study this programme here in Glasgow. So yeah, happy to take any questions. So please either post to the chat or unmute and shout out the question.
Excellent. Thank you so much for everyone in the presentation. Yeah, feel free to pop your questions in the chat, or if you do want to come off mute and ask, you can do so as well. We do have some preempted questions that students have sent in, so I will go ahead and ask them in the meantime. So the first question is, how can students connect with other students during the programme?
So I think the main way that students will connect with other students is obviously via online platforms. So a lot of the tasks that we'll be asking you to do, we'll be having online discussion forums, and something that we will certainly be very much encouraging is for students to build an online community of practice, so that they will connect with each other using Teams, for example, or the Moodle discussion forums. So yeah, that's something that we really will encourage, and maybe we might even set up study groups, small study groups depending on numbers as well, to try and facilitate that. So I can see a question in the chat here concerning the specialism courses. Will there be instructors that have real live experience working in clinical and industry labs? yes, we are hoping to have instructors from these backgrounds that will have input into the classes. Yes, particularly in the laboratory practice, governance and ethics course for that one. But yes, we are collaborating with partners for that purpose.
That's great, thank you. What would it be like for students to manage their time whilst working alongside doing this qualification?
Yes, so this is a really great question and an important question, which we are aware students will want to know. So just to give you a kind of rule of thumb, so for a 10 credit course, the expectation for students is that there is 100 hours of notional learning time. So a lot of at master's level, there is a high degree of expectation of guided independent study. So for a 10 credit course, there would be roughly 10 hours of core teaching time, but there is this expectation of up to 100 hours of study on as well as that, so 90 hours of study plus the 10 hours of core teaching. So given that a 10 credit course will run over 5 weeks, then we're looking at between 10 and 20 hours per week will be expected doing this course.
Great, thank you. Do students have reading lists available, and if so, when do they receive them?
So at the start, yes, and we do have reading lists. So a lot of the reading material is going to be from journal, from journal articles. And at the start of any course, students will have access to the Moodle, and the reading list will be on the Moodle for a particular course. So I can see another question here in the chat. How many days? Hang on, how many days per month will we have live sessions to attend because we need to take an absence or leave from work? So this is an online distance learning course, and basically students will work through material for a given week in their own time. There might be some live sessions, but that won't necessarily be weekly. So maybe a 10 credit course, for example, might have one live session or two at most that you might have to attend over the course of 5 weeks. So it's not something that's going to be weekly. Again, at the start of a course, we would give you a heads up and tell you when any live sessions were scheduled to occur.
Will the live sessions be recorded and accessible later on?
Yes, I think I would say yes to that. Yes, we would endeavour to record any live sessions. Yep. During which times of the day will the lectures mainly take place? So as I've said, the course material is going to be online, fully online, and so during a given week, you will get access to the material for that week, and you will have to just work through that at your own pace within that week and participate in the forums.
I'm pretty sure like the material is going to be accessible from any device as well. So if people have long commutes to work, you will be able to access the material on your phone or on a tablet. So you can really make use of your free time to try and catch up on stuff. So that's a great way to spend your time commuting.
Thanks, Tanya. So
we have another question here. Will students be studying more than one course at a time?
So no, you won't be studying more than one course at a time. So the way the timetable or the way that the programme is scheduled, so if I just go back to the relevant slide, if I can, let me go back. So basically, you will undertake the courses in this order. So in the first half of semester one, the first 5 weeks of a semester, you would undertake that, the first class there. And then there's a 1 week kind of catch-up week between that course, say data-driven leadership, and then laboratory health and safety. So there is a kind of 1 week gap between these courses as well. So yeah, so you only ever study one course at a time. Now it might be that the assessment for that first course might be at the start of the next course, but we try, we have spaced out the assessment timetable so that there's, going to be as minimal overlap of assessments as possible. For semester 3, these are 20 credit courses, so these run over 10 weeks. And again, there is a 1 week break in the middle of those 10 weeks for students to have a catch-up week there, if that makes sense.
Excellent, thank you. We have another question. Can students graduate in person?
I think the answer to that would be yes. George, would that be right?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I think the university is quite keen that the students come and graduate in person. If they've done the qualification, then they can certainly graduate, yeah.
It's quite a nice way for students that are online distance learning to celebrate the end of their 3 years of studying online and be able to come to the beautiful campus and meet their lecturers. So yeah, it's a lovely way to end your study. We have had another question in the chat there.
Yep, I can see that here. Yes. So which of the courses are exclusively for lab management students and which are taught together with students from other programs? So there are a few of the business school courses. Now I can't remember which ones off the top of my head that are going to be part of the health services management program. So you would have the opportunity to engage with other students in a few of those. Zhang, do you know that off the top of your head, or which courses it is that we're joining with health services management? I think, is it operations management is one of them?
Yes, I think operations management is, yeah. But
Was
also,
there other ones?
I think there should be also project management.
Project management, okay. So this one, yep. Mm-hmm. But the rest of the courses are exclusively for lab management. So the MVLS courses are exclusively for lab management students.
That's great. So it looks like we don't have any other questions at the moment. Oh, someone's just popped one up. There's a couple coming in now.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, Chris. So you signed up for the course last year, but it didn't run. We are doing our very best to ensure a successful launch of the programme this year and that it will run this year. So really hope that that is not going to happen again this year. So yeah, hopefully we should be going ahead this year. Obviously really sorry in terms of what happened last year. In terms of due dates and deadlines for assignments, will the times posted be in BST time zone only? No, because we're aware that we will have students globally that will join this programme. So any assessment schedules, we will ensure that the corresponding times for other time zones are stated as well. Okay.
That's great. It looks like we've answered most of the questions that have came in today. There is an email address on our programme webpage as well. If you are watching this recorded, you can send us an email with your question. We will be sending the recording out to everybody who's registered for the event along with the slides today so that you can look at them at a later date. But yeah, that looks like that's everything for now. If anybody else has anything that they'd like to add at this stage? Thank you so much for your time today and for everybody who's came from the Adam Smith Business School and also our colleagues here in MVLS. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.